Last month, the judge issued a temporary restraining order blocking her from making those appointments without approval from trustees.
Well, there is more high drama in the village of Dolton tonight, where embattled Mayor Tiffany Henyard is trying.
The political chaos surrounding Tiffany Henyard, often dubbed the super mayor, has reached a fever pitch. In a stunning turn of events, Henyard, who serves as both the mayor of Dolton, Illinois, and the supervisor of Thornton Township, has been politically outmaneuvered and denied on a Democratic ballot for township supervisor. This monumental loss, paired with mounting scandals and public outrage, has left her clinging to the last threads of her political career. But let's be honest, this isn't just about a lost election. This is about a politician who has lived like royalty on the taxpayer's dime and is now watching her empire crumble. Could this be the beginning of the end for Tiffany Henyard? Let's dive in.
To me, there are perception issues with it that are right to get attention. Will the court look at those perception issues? Probably not, but the voters certainly should.
Picture this, a packed auditorium in Homewood, Illinois, buzzing with tension. The stakes couldn't be higher. It was the first Democratic caucus in Thornton Township in decades, a decision made by State Senator and Thornton Democratic Committeeman Napoleon Harris. As Harris entered the venue, his supporters filled the room early, securing their seats and preparing for what would become a swift and decisive victory. Meanwhile, Henyard's supporters, many of whom were abused in using township resources, were left waiting outside in the cold. The room's capacity was capped at 600, and by the time Henyard's team arrived late, as always, the doors were already closing. This wasn't just a logistical disaster, it was a political spectacle.
New drama tonight involving a controversial politician in the south suburbs. Tiffany Henyard was the only Thornton Township leader to show up for a scheduled meeting.
When the caucus began, it took just 7 minutes for Harris and his slate to secure the Democratic nomination for the upcoming April election. 7 minutes. That's all it took to end Henyard's dreams of re-election as township supervisor. The room erupted in cheers as Harris's name was declared. Henyard, on the other hand, was visibly furious, accusing Harris of running an illegal meeting. "You didn't run any of this the right way," she shouted, her voice trembling with frustration. But it wasn't just anger, it was desperation. She knew what this loss meant. Without a spot on the Democratic ticket, her only option now is to run as a write-in candidate, a long shot at best.
For months, there is a new legal battle brewing in Dolton between the mayor and some village trustees.
As Regina Waldrop explains, it has a lot to do with 2 meetings held earlier this week.
But Henyard's complaints about the process didn't hold much weight. Harris and his team had followed the rules, no matter how much Henyard cried foul. The requirement for candidates to have a full slate, including a certified assessor, was in place, and Henyard's team failed to meet it. Harris's attorney, Burton Odelson, made it clear this is the process that has been in place for decades. It's legal, it's democratic, and it was executed properly. Henyard's claims of voter suppression and unfair practices were met with skepticism, especially considering her own history of bending the rules to suit her needs. Let's not forget, this isn't just about a caucus. Henyard has been embroiled in controversy for years. From accusations of lavish spending on taxpayer money to allegations of corruption and mismanagement, her tenure has been anything but smooth. Residents of Thornton Township and Dolton have grown increasingly frustrated with her leadership or lack thereof. One resident summed it up perfectly: "She's done nothing but embarrass this community. It's time for her to go." And go she might, but not without a fight.
You are a clown. We will continue to speak out against wrongdoing. Why won't you step down?
Henyard's response to her defeat was characteristically dramatic. She stormed out of the auditorium, flanked by a handful of supporters, as the crowd sang "Nana Hey Hey, Kiss Him Goodbye." The irony was palpable. Henyard, who has often been accused of shouting over others in meetings and dismissing dissenting voices, was now being drowned out by her own constituents. Karma and justice in action, one observer quipped. And they weren't wrong. For years, Henyard has ruled with an air of arrogance, using her dual roles as mayor and supervisor to consolidate power. But now, it seems, her reign is over. The public's disdain for Henyard isn't just about her political antics. It's about the very real impact her leadership has had on the community. Thornton Township is facing significant financial challenges, many of which can be traced back to Henyard's administration. Investigations into her spending habits have revealed shocking details, including tens of thousands spent on first-class flights, luxury hotels, and high-end dining. And let's not forget the infamous Amazon purchase over $30,000 in a single day. Residents are understandably furious.
A Dolton home that she leased to Mayor Tiffany Henyard has filed eviction papers. She says Henyard has not paid her rent, and now she wants her.
While Henyard's spending habits have drawn the most attention, her leadership style has also been a source of constant controversy. Critics describe her as combative and dismissive, often shutting down dissenting voices during public meetings. One former official described her behavior as bullying, adding, "It's like she views anyone who disagrees with her as an enemy." This abrasive approach has alienated not only her colleagues but also many of her constituents. The result? A growing number of residents who feel disillusioned and disconnected from their local government.
The election is not until 2025, yet Tiffany Henyard has officially decided she wants to stay as mayor despite the cloud of controversy surrounding her.
Adding insult to injury, Henyard's legal troubles have cast a long shadow over her administration. The FBI investigation into her financial dealings has reportedly expanded to include close allies, some of whom are accused of engaging in fraudulent activities on her behalf. In one particularly damning incident, a top police officer and Henyard ally was recently indicted for bankruptcy fraud, further fueling calls for accountability. This isn't just about bad leadership anymore. This is about systemic corruption, and it's clear that the people of Thornton Township are fed up. But the scandals don't stop there. Henyard's cancer charity, the Tiffany Henyard CRES Foundation, has come under scrutiny for failing to report how it spends its funds. The Illinois Attorney General's office has even ordered the charity to stop soliciting donations until it complies with state regulations. Meanwhile, her use of township buses to transport supporters to the caucus has sparked further outrage. Critics argue that this is yet another example of Henyard using public resources for personal gain. Just because she gets the boot, Tiffany and her goons still need to be indicted and prosecuted for government corruption, one commenter wrote. And they're not alone in that sentiment.
But you don't even have a sense to even look in our face. But you rather just steal our money and do what you want to do.
As the walls close in around her, Henyard's future looks increasingly bleak. The FBI is reportedly investigating her administration, and legal experts suggest that she could face serious consequences if found guilty of any wrongdoing. This is about more than just politics, one analyst explained. This is about accountability. If she's broken the law, she needs to face the consequences. And those consequences could be severe. With multiple investigations underway and a long list of lawsuits piling up, Henyard is staring down the barrel of a political and legal disaster. Despite all this, Henyard remains defiant. In a fiery press conference following the caucus, she vowed to continue fighting. The show will go on, she declared, though her words rang hollow. Many believe that her days in office are numbered, and the prospect of her winning as a write-in candidate seems slim. Even her staunchest supporters are beginning to lose faith. One ally, Keith Price, optimistically suggested that enough people know Henyard's name to write it in on the ballot, but even he sounded uncertain.
Stories new at 6. Embattled Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard is mounting a re-election bid. Henyard made the announcement in a post on her Facebook page.
Meanwhile, Harris and his team are moving forward, preparing for the April election and focusing on the issues that matter to the community. Harris, a former NFL player and successful businessman, has promised to bring transparency and accountability to Thornton Township. His victory at the caucus was a clear sign that residents are ready for a change. As for Henyard, her next move is anyone's guess. Will she double down on her legal battles, pouring time and money into lawsuits that may never see the light of day? Or will she finally step back and let the community heal? Either way, one thing is clear: Tiffany Henyard's political career is in free fall, and there may be no coming back from this. The public's reaction to Henyard's downfall has been overwhelmingly negative. Social media is flooded with comments from residents and political observers alike, many of whom see her defeat as a long overdue reckoning. Tiffany often just shouts over other people in meetings. Now she is the one getting shouted down. Karma and justice in action. Bye, Tiff, one commenter wrote.
Because all this point the finger to Tiffany or allow me, I'm over it. Now it's time for me.
But amidst the celebration, there's also a sense of frustration. Many residents feel that Henyard has done irreparable damage to the township and that it will take years to undo the harm she's caused. We're going to be cleaning up her mess for a long time, one taxpayer said. But at least now we have a chance to move forward. So what's next for Thornton Township? Will Harris deliver on his promises and restore faith in local government? And what about Henyard? Will she face legal consequences for her actions? Or will she find a way to bounce back? The answers remain to be seen. But one thing is certain, this is a story that's far from over. What do you think? Will Harris be the leader Thornton Township needs? Or is this just another chapter in the township's political saga? And as for Henyard, do you believe she deserves a second chance? Or is it time for her to step aside for good? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.